All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. So we will be getting things going here in just a second. I'm just checking messages to see what else I need to do. Okay. Back out and try come in now. Okay. We have a couple people that are like from West Virginia and New York and Erie that are usually down here. And so they're not here today because of weather. So we're doing a Google Hangout. So they're all on here. So let me just, there's people en route so we can say hi. Wait, let me see if I can get, not there. Okay, say hi.
Hey.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello. All right, everybody. We're glad that you're on and welcome to our Pittsburgh director meeting. Just to Jesus. Hey, good morning. Malia, hey, good morning. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Google Hangouts instead of Periscope?
Yeah, Google Hangouts. So let me send you the link. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll get everybody on here.
Okay.
Can somebody text Lauren Bloomer to try it again right now?
Is there a specific link on Google Hangouts?
Yeah, actually it's a private link, so I'll text it to Linda Williams right now.
Okay.
Except I don't have her phone number in my phone.
It is.
So I'm just text it to you.
Okay, just text it to me.
And then you can.
And I'll forward her the link.
Great. There we go. Yeah, the way Google Hangout works is that if you're ever on a Hangout, you have to wait for the event to go live. And then once it goes live, then you can connect in to the event. But if you're like waiting and it hasn't come up yet, then you'll be waiting there forever. Because it's like you got into the technology piece of it just a little bit too late. So first of all, I want to welcome you here and say thank you for making it out in the snow. I need my coffee back there, Shane. Could you get my coffee for me? That'd be great. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Great. As we are in the we'll wait and we'll do recognition because I know there's a couple other people who are on their way in yet. And so, first of all, I don't even want to do introductions yet because we have a couple people I know that are still coming too. So I want to wait for everybody to be able to get in with things. So just a couple housekeeping announcements first. It's our $500 bonus month, right? And so it's the second of the 3 months. And so if you are a DIQ and you're like, what is she talking about? Then that is because directors got an opportunity to have a $500 bonus with a 13% increase in January. And then at leadership, they announced it in February and then again in March. And then when you hit all 3 months, you get your $1,000 bonus on it. So if you missed January, that's like, okay, we missed it, but focus in on February and March because that's still worth $1,000. And that's still a big deal. In a corporate job, any job to get $1,000 bonus of extra money you weren't counting on, plus the extra money that comes from doing a 13%, it's probably that alone for 2 months is probably worth at least an extra $2,500 cash in your pocket. So I can't wait to hear about your Januaries as well. Lisa Ann is, when she gets here, she's going to be talking about going to do a red citywide event, maybe once a quarter to help support Red Jackets, build more Red Jackets, and let people see a bigger picture. So I know that she has some information that she wants to share about that as well. We are going to be doing a guest night on St. Patrick's Day night, which is the night before Career Conference. It's going to be at the Doubletree Hilton in Greentree. And it will be with myself and Jillian Ortega and Tammy Romage and Laura McKeever. So 4 national sales directors. We're calling it The Prize is Right. So we're going to play Price is Right kind of games for Mary Kay products, and we're going to let our guests all play for that. We'll have a beauty bar from 6:30 to 7 open so that customers can see products, but then they'll be playing for Mary Kay prizes. And so in addition to the door fee, I'm asking directors who are going to participate to PayPal me $10 extra because that will allow me to create different prize bundles for The Prize is Right. So we'll play like, you know, a game and then an I story and a game and an I story and a game and an I story. And the showcase will be the starter kit showcase. So it will be not, they're not going to play for a starter kit because we can't do that. But it will be the close of the event, you know, that you could play. And so I'll be sharing some of my Price is Right stories of how I lost and how losing was the best thing that ever could have possibly happened to me, because in losing, I realized what an opportunity that we take for granted. You know, as I watched those people that were like, oh my gosh, the one girl was getting physically ill afterwards because she had won $4,000. And she's like, I need my mom. I don't know what to do. I got to get out of here. Like it's in a little box and they're giving you all the legal jargon and, you know, everything else and the taxes and all the implications on stuff. And for those people, that was their highlight of their life besides getting married and having children. You know, that most people go to, you know, they graduate from college, they get a job, they go to work, they have their children, they have their grandbabies, and they die, you know, and they live through their children's accomplishments, and, you know, and that's it. And I think because we live in a pink bubble where there's always abundance and there's always opportunity that's around us, that I think sometimes we can take it for granted of what a difference it really does, what a gift that we have and what a difference it really can make in people's lives. Because you just don't get to get lucky one time. You know, it's every month you have an opportunity to totally change your life, to change your family's life as well. So anyway, so we're going to be calling that the Price is Right, and that will be on the Thursday night before career conference.
Do we have a flag for that?
It's coming out. I thought it was. I had asked somebody else to take care of it, when I came back, it still wasn't done. So I boxed her last night. I boxed her and said, hey, what's happening with the flyer? So I don't know. So it should be here, because I was hoping it was going to be here for that.
What's the fee?
$10 at the door. Yeah, $10 at the door. Consultants and directors, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, consultants and directors. Terry?
Are the prizes instead of like $100 drawing as we did in our last guest event, or will there still be $100 drawing?
It's just, I can't tell because I don't know how many people are going to participate in and support it to know exactly where Teresa has been researching games, like which games to play that we can probably play. So I've got to figure out how how much I have to put to products and then what's left over to be able to give away $100. So we will probably be able to give away some money, but I don't know how much it will be. So, you know, ballrooms are expensive, you know, I mean, the ballroom, the tax, the microphone, the tax, the service fees, you know, it's like a 30% charge on top of the room fee, you know, that we pay. So anyway, wish it was like a little town, but it's not. It's a big city. So, all right. So let's go ahead and let's start with some teaching. Okay. And so our first teacher of the day, has anybody heard of anybody else who's not coming? No, Linda Williams. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I can't see it all.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Lauren. Hey.
Yeah, she texted and said she was on.
Yeah, because it can't go on until we actually go live, and so she would just get a blank screen until that point in time. Oh, let me do one other announcement that I have here also. I had the opportunity to go this past week to the Direct Selling World Alliance's coaching school. And some of you might have heard about it with Nikki Kehoe, who is Connie Kitson's sister. And so Nikki and her daughter Grace started this company, and they have been doing coaching all around the world actually now. They are actually contracted with a few other direct sales companies. There's a problem though with them being able to contract with Mary Kay because of conflict of interest, because of Connie and Kristen's position with the company. So, you know, they have rules that like if you work for the company, like none of your family members could go work at Mary Kay corporate. And so if you work for Mary Kay corporate, you can only have people join the company as Salesforce members like a year after you quit working for the company, and only if you didn't work in certain areas. So if you worked in some areas, you can't have your family members join the company. Like David Hall's daughters can never become Mary Kay consultants or directors, ever. conflict of interest.
It's kind of sad to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's what you give up in exchange, exchange for that. So there's some issues. And so they've been talking and working to have relationships with them. But that may be an issue why they can't directly work with Mary Kay. And so as national sales directors, we have started working with them and started to involve other directors in the company for it, because I know for the last, since we were like at 800,000 in our $800,000 year, that the missing link of why people don't move is coaching, because it's not about teaching your people enough. Our people are smart. It's other stuff that holds them back. And so coaching is just not taught, it's not the same. And so I had found Deb Erickson, and I love Deb. And Deb does a phenomenal job of coaching. And what I learned with her in coaching, just in her section on coaching, was super powerful and was a massive difference as we move forward. Deb does more of a neuro-linguistic processing. And Nikki and Grace do a little bit of that, but it's not going quite as much as touching in the backstory, of your life with it. But Deb's is also mixed in with a lot of different things. And so what I learned at Nikki and Grace's from all my time with Deb, it's the same basic information packaged a little differently, if you will. So if you've been working with Deb Erickson for a long time, you might not go there and go, wow, this is amazing, like some of my inner circle national friends who have been working with Grace and Nikki. They're like, this is like light bulb, total ground shaking moments from people that you highly respect, who you'd go, wow, really? How did you get to where you are? Kind of thing. But it's just different in that it's totally focused in on coaching and not on other pieces of the puzzle that help shift people. And so I went to the workshop, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to bring them to Pittsburgh, more to let you see if it fits for you, if it's a good feel for you, and be able to offer it as a workshop, a one-day workshop. It's actually like a 5-hour workshop. What I went to in Atlanta was like 17 hours of workshop. And so it was theory of coaching. How do you coach? All different kinds of pieces around coaching, role playing, doing all kinds of things. But what they do is they do a workshop that focuses on the 5 or 6 key areas around our businesses. Just teaching consultants that being successful, let me just look for my workbook here. Like, this was my workbook for the 17 hours. Let me see. So they talk about business management skills of time management, emotional management, environmental management, which is your space, your office space, working space around you, your money management, your people management and leadership skills, and project management. And so they kind of talk in those areas. And what she's going to do is she's going to do an introductory call for all of us so that you can hear more of what the program is and what it would do for you and what it would do for your people to be able to do it. But it would probably be like a Saturday, and I was having trouble because my mind was in a different place as she was talking about this workshop, because I thought the workshops that she was talking about were 3-day workshops. And so how much do you listen when you're like thinking what you already know, right? And what I realized was that it's just a 1-day workshop. And so it's like 3 hours in the morning and 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon. And I can't remember if she splits it into levels where like there's a basic level for consultants and then the afternoon is red jackets and directors. I'm not sure. And her program is kind of changing a little bit right now as well. But I want to bring her to the area. So I'm going to connect with her. This was their first day back in the office, and they're on Hawaii time because they live in Hawaii. But I do know that they are working with several other direct selling companies right now teaching their whole leadership and executive director level, people, these kind of skills. So I think it's really, really, really valuable stuff to be able to have. And what I realized is that since becoming a national, I kind of fell away from coaching just because you didn't have as many people that were in the mix of wanting to coach and move forward. But she's even talking about how do you apply coaching in an interview process with people so that you can feel, is this a person that you want on your team? Is she somebody that you want to invest with? Or how much do you want to invest right away at the very beginning of a relationship too? So, and just how to use some of those coaching questions to help people also self-discover what is their own why and why would Mary Kay be a great match for them. So really interesting on some of those kind of processes of what she's looking at. So those are some of the things that are cooking in the mix of things. How many of you got to listen to Jenna Larson's call that she did for the $1 Million Messenger, talking about why Mary Kay is right for millennials? Did any of you get to listen to that? Oh, good, because I don't really want to repeat stuff, but it was so good. So I want to just share this with you because it was fabulous. Jenna Larson is Candy Carlson's daughter, and she is a millennial. So millennials are kind of in that 20-something age range to early 30s. It kind of spans like even people that are 18 right now are kind of they're at the younger edge of that. And it's what is important to them, because every generation has different things that are important to them. And so the millennials now are wanting these kind of things, and Mary Kay fits in all of this. They want technology-oriented careers because they live technology. So they want, the internet that gives them the instant gratification. They want open opportunities because they're about sharing ideas, sharing new things. So they want it to be in a sharing environment, and they want limitless opportunities to grow, not just financially, but also personally on a career path. And so in Mary Kay, really every new level that you move into in Mary Kay is a total opportunity, where they say that most of the millennials will have 6.2 jobs by the time they're 26 years old. So they don't stay in things long because they get what they want and they move on, and they get what they want and they move on. And so if we can help them to see that they can have that kind of career in Mary Kay where they can build that longevity of being here, but that they can every time. So you go to Red Jacket, okay, instead of saying like, okay, this is just a promotion, it's really like a new part of their career, and helping them to see that. She said they want no glass ceilings, just like many of the other generations. But when they're talking about no glass ceilings, they're talking about the opportunities to touch lots of people's lives in no glass ceilings. That there's no cap on the number of people that you get to impact, in lives. And that they want to know that when they invest time, that they can get a lot out of that time, because they know that time, to them, time is their most important thing. They definitely want their careers to be integrated work into life for them. But where it might have looked like in in previous generations, more having like harmony, what they're talking about is that they want to have fun at their jobs. They want to be engaged with great people at their jobs, so that their whole life of they live life all the time, not just when they're done working at 5 o'clock. And so being able to, have our opportunity of meeting new people and having fun and making money that you can be investing and growing everything around you in the future, as well as your relationships that are around you, is just kind of how their life is. And so she talked about how for her, for career conference was not just the educational part of it, but how career conference was the opportunity to go in a group with your girlfriends, to go with other like-minded women and have fun and laugh and a PJ party and education. And that's why they're calling recognition now parades, you know, as well in Mary Kay. So just changing some of the lingo up of what we do so that it becomes a whole experience rather than you go for one kind of avenue of things. She said, millennials also are very competitive and they want job flexibilities and they want the physical presence to be optional of where they have to show up for a job. They like to be able to choose when they want to work, not have to be told when they're going to work. And they like that they could be in a job that says, here's the workload, you decide how you want to do it. So again, all that ability to be an entrepreneur is really important. They love inspiration. But inspiration is not just about money for them. It's about the personal growth and to grow skills as well. So they love being in rich learning environments. And that they love a collaborative culture. There's a lot more, for those of you that have watched your kids, there's a lot more joint projects things that happen in school now. And that's because that's a piece of this whole thing for this generation. So they've grown up with a lot of that. They like collaborative kind of projects to work together. And they love being able to share ideas and success. So golden rule kind of opportunity is really important to them as well. They want to have a sense of purpose. So they put a greater impact than any other generation on social causes. And they want to know how they fit into the social cause. And does anybody really care about them as individuals and as people? And they want to know how the company relates to the world. And so, you know, Mary Kay's Pink Doing Green and our Love is Respect texting program and our charitable foundation, all of those things, enriching women's lives, all fall into that for them. They also want, 75% of millennials want to learn to lead. And that's why we are seeing so many 20s coming in and moving quickly. They want to learn to lead. They want people to coach them and to mentor them. So 79% of them said they don't want their boss just to be their boss, but they want their boss to be investing in them, to be coaching and to be mentoring with them. And then the last, the employee mobility, that they will have multiple careers, again, the 6.2 jobs by the time they're 26 years old. They want to be able to move both vertically and horizontally in companies. And they want to have experiences that build bonds for them, relationship bonds. And so, you know, Mary Kay, gosh, God's hand was just all over our company, you know, because it seems like every time, you know, what women are looking for, Mary Kay has to offer that. At the coaching school, I have to tell you that the people that attended the school, it was very interesting. We were either national sales directors or they were women in their 20s. There was very little difference between those groups of people. That it was very interesting. And so we had Jordan Twilley was there and Jamie Taylor was there, and they had their 21-year-old offspring. And this coaching school was not cheap, you guys. It was $1,000 plus your travel, plus your hotel, plus your food. So, you know, most of those 20-something-year-old women were investing easily, probably $1,500, you know, a total of $1,500, just between their either flight or gas and hotel and meals and everything else, because they're seeking this to be able to build as quickly as they can, you know, recognizing that this is something that they want to own as a skill and be able to give out as a skill as well. So any questions on that? I actually have the whole recording. It's like 20 minutes long, but I did record it I just put it on speakerphone and recorded it because it was really rich with facts and figures, and she cites the studies and everything that goes along with all of that. But that was kind of as quickly as my little hands could write. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and let's do our first teacher. And so Jamie, do you want to start us off?
Sure.
Awesome. So I want you to welcome up Senior Cadillac Director, Jamie Bittner. Woo! Woo!
Okay, so this is funny.
I know, it is
funny. In front of you. I'm just gonna train today. Kim asked me to train a little bit. I always feel like when you're speaking to directors, what really can we offer that you guys don't already have? So I'm just gonna speak on a perspective of kind of coming back in a new fresh start for myself, because I feel like we all at some point feel like we could have a fresh start or need a fresh start. And so I'm sure most of you know, like I had a little hiatus, not where I stopped completely working Mary Kay, but where I took a break. Hold on, my tablecloth's falling. So I just started, you know, coming back and realized that I wanted to grow my business in a big way again. And so when you're looking at not doing very much or what you should be doing at your potential, and then looking at where you want to be, sometimes that's daunting. So I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't go from being a, you know, Cadillac director doing a unit club to a trip director by doing obviously the same thing that I was doing, but the gap was so big I wasn't sure where to start. So I'm just going to talk to you guys about the two things that I started with that have kind of really started a snowball effect, and it started small and then grew to a different level for me. So just to give you some kind of idea, whenever I started this, my production a month was probably, I'm going to go back probably to before I had re-earned our Cadillac again. So my production a month was, I would say, between like 8,000 and 12,000 a month. Kim, wouldn't you say that? Like that was my median, where my base was, and you know, the effort that I was putting in, that's where it was taking me from. And so when I started this effort, then the norm goes from that to 16 to 20,000 a month. So that was obviously a growth in double, but it started out small. So there's two things that I did with my business, and they're going to seem simple, and you guys are probably like, I know, but you all know me, and I don't warm chatter. It's not something that I like to do, but I obviously have to meet new people and get names, so I had to get creative. So one thing that I came up with was Divas and Donuts, and I don't know if you've heard of it or heard of me talk about it or seen it out there, but I'm not comfortable talking to a stranger or going into a business and appreciating working women. But I did go back into my customer base and my friends base, and I went on my Facebook wall and asked anybody who worked in an office and would like for me to pop in and do Divas and Donuts. And literally, I mean, because of what my husband does, ironically enough, he does get a discount at Dunkin' Donuts. So I went to Dunkin' Donuts. He does. It's really funny, and he doesn't even like donuts. But I went to Dunkin' Donuts and I'd ask how many girls work in the office. So I'd buy a dozen or 2 dozen donuts, and I make up goodie bags. And obviously they're just like normal goodie bags. So chocolates, my business cards, some samples in there. And sometimes if there's like 5 women, I take a lookbook, I put like a satin hand sample, hand cream, like I do up really nice goodie bags for them. And so they were customers, friends, family members who worked in an office. And I said, listen, all I'm doing is I'm appreciating offices during the week. So nominate your office. And I literally stop in for 10 minutes, if that, drop off some donuts for everybody. Everybody gets goodie bags, and then I'm out of there. So it was a comfortable way because they knew that I was coming. So I set it up the day and time that I was coming in. They never cared. Nobody ever was like, well, let me check with my boss. None of them. They were all like, okay, come this day at this time. Listen, if you're taking free food into them, they're totally stoked about it. So I always try to set it up in the beginning of the week because everybody's like, doesn't want to be at work Mondays or Tuesdays. And so I would go in with my donuts and my goodie bags. And what happens is, it's going to sound so trivial because I, in the beginning, didn't even get names and numbers. because I really had to work myself into this. So I would literally go in with the goodies and be like, here, I'm treating you guys. And some of the girls didn't always come in, so they'd be like, well, what do you do? Oh, I sell Mary Kay. Oh my gosh, I lost my consultant, you know, that kind of thing. So the first week that I did it, I went to 2 different offices. From that week, I got 2 new customers and $150 in orders from the 2 offices that I went to that did not have consultants, 2 new customers that were like, oh my gosh. And obviously the person that I knew was already my customer there. So she had placed an order. So the next time that I went back, I did the donuts and the samples. And so I got more customers, more sales, but I booked a party that week on the spot. Still didn't get anybody's names and numbers. I know, I'm really raking. Like, if you are outgoing, you're going to kill this. Can I tell you? So then the third time that I went, donuts to everybody. Now I got people to enter to win a gift certificate that I was giving away every week. Somebody's going to get picked to win a gift certificate. So I was bold enough to ask them to fill out the little slips. I got another booking, more customers, and more sales. So as you can see, and I knew somebody in every office that I went to, and it was simply by going onto my Facebook page and or messaging friends and family that I knew worked in offices or had jobs, which is pretty much, if you guys think about it, if they're not in Mary Kay, 90% of the women in your life either know somebody or work somewhere. And so you can go to MOPS groups, you can go, you know, you can go to whatever, you can ask them, well, do you get together with moms? Can I just pop in and treat you guys? Literally 10 minutes. And I'm so fast about it because I like to do things quick, and I get a little nervous when I'm around new people. So it's like, here's your goodies. Hey, thanks. And they would be like, wait, I need a lipstick, or do you have this? Or I lost my consultant. So that trickled, obviously, new names, new leads, new customers. So that started the booking process for me again. So that was something simple that I did that I think everybody can do. And even if you're really nervous about it, it's just an easy way to re-enter into getting new names, new customers. And honestly, it's become my staple. Like, it's what I do now to get new names and new customers. And so if you feel like you've exhausted that, now I've gone back to customers that I have and asked them to refer me to a friend that works in an office. Do you have a friend that's really not crazy about her job and could use a pick-me-up on a Monday morning? Awesome. Give me her name and number. I'm going to contact her and see if I can do divas and donuts for them. Or when I'd be in an office, do you guys have any girlfriends that work in an office that might like this? Oh my gosh, yes. They're like so happy to give you names of offices and contacts. So that's what I've been doing to grow my business and take it to a different level. Obviously, that's worked well for me. So, and then the other thing that I started doing to grow my unit was Pizza and Possibilities. And I know that we talk about it a lot, and that, or maybe you guys have heard it. I don't know if you take advantage of it, but anytime I've grown my business and grown it in a big way, it's by doing Pizza and Possibilities. And just let me help you think a new thought, because I used to think it would have to be an event that I conducted at my training center or at a place where I opened it up to my whole unit and everybody brought guests. And then if some people did, you know, if they didn't bring guests, then I would feel like it was a failure and I'd stop doing them. Well, I decided to take a new look at it and start going to people in my unit that had expressed to me that they wanted to move up and start doing Pizza and Possibilities on an individual basis. So I actually started with Paige. She was my first Pizza and Possibilities again, and she had just decided that she wanted to move up in her business. So in December, I said, listen, there's a pizza joint close to her house. I said, let's do Pizza and Possibilities. You just invite as many guests as you can. I don't care if there's 2 of us there. I don't care if there's 10 of us there. We're going to get together. I'll buy pizza. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about the opportunity. And then that's pretty much it. Now, I will tell you that my recruiting ratio at a Pizza and Possibilities has never been less than 50%. So if I have 8 guests, we get 4 team members. Sometimes it's 75%. I've had an occasion where it's been like 100%. That was a huge day. But also, I've had times where it's been 1 guest and that 1 guest recruits. I don't care if it's 2 people. I actually am in my sweet spot when I can do face-to-face interviews with people. So this is really just you doing face-to-face interviews again. And so when Paige did it the first time, it was actually pretty big because she invited her team members, even though she hadn't been in DIQ. She's like, let's open it up to my team members in my town. So I think we had like 8 guests at the first one. And like 8 consultants came, or 6 consultants came. And out of those 8 guests, 4 of them signed. And so it was just us around a table. And if you want me to give the logistics of how I do it, I can do that, but I don't want to bore anybody either if nobody wants it. So it was literally just us around the table. We did the pizza and possibilities. That's what happened. I also have another girl, Tessa, who wanted to move up. She recently just earned her red jacket. I think she signed her 6th person on Monday. But I went to her individually and said, hey, let's do a pizza and possibilities. And she said, okay. And she's like, where do we do it? I said, well, we can do it at a restaurant or we can do it in your home. What are you more comfortable with? She said her home. She had 2 people come, which is totally fine with me. It's casual. It's fun. I was there for about 45 minutes and one of the girls signed and the other one is signing on the other girl's team this week. So that's what happens when we do them. So I just started taking it to an individual basis. I'm still going to do them for my unit, obviously, and open it up and do it on a bigger scale. But when you start picking people that you want to move up, it just worked easier for me. I stopped looking at it as like I have to have a big event with a lot of people. I was like, let me take a hot shot, and I don't care if it's 2 people around the kitchen table.
I'm a detailed
It's okay.
person. So just tell me, give us an idea of exactly what you shared and how you structured it.
Okay, so it's really easy. Obviously, when we get there, it's a lot of casual time. So I'm kind of just talking to the people around the table, trying to get to know the guests a little bit. And then obviously, we make sure we try and get the pizza there. I really don't get into it too much until like the pizza is delivered. And I start talking when they're eating, because it's easier. So in that time that we're waiting, I make everyone go around the room, tell us their name, who their consultant is, and one thing that they think of when they hear Mary Kay. And I always tell them, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want the brutal truth. Tell me what you think of when you hear Mary Kay. So they go around the room and you'll hear like, you know, Pink Cadillac. Occasionally somebody will be like, my grandma's makeup. The last one, somebody was like, I've never heard of Mary Kay before. I was like, oh, I love you. So there's all kinds of different people that will tell you different answers. So that's what, you know, I went around, and it's just an icebreaker. And basically what I try to do is kind of mold my marketing around the answers that they gave me. So at some point, if they say like skincare, I talk about how it's the best selling skincare brand. If they talk about, you know, Pink Cadillacs, we talk about my Pink Cadillac.
You actually pull out a recruiting notebook.
No,
you just talk.
It is casual. Like, this is what I want to encourage you. I know that sometimes detailed people that I get that there's a charisma factor involved, and I get that I like to build relationships. So that's my sweet spot. Like, I like to just talk to people and look at them in the face and build a relationship. But I want to encourage you guys as directors to get okay with that. I know that there are detailed people, but if you just get comfortable with them and are honest with them, you go miles and miles with them. So when we're sitting at a table of 8 people, and really what I do is after they do that, I say, listen, this is how it's going to roll. This is going to be really easy and fun. I'm going to share with you my eye story. You guys are going to ask me questions about how Mary Kay works. For every question you ask, you get a ticket into the door prize drawing. I have a bunch of prizes on the table. I take more prizes than I ever do. I provide the prizes. I just suck it up, and I do eyeshadows, lip glosses, whatever. So I wrap them up, put them in the middle of the table. The more questions you ask, the more chances that you get at prizes. And then I say this to them. I want you to know the reason why you're here is, yes, we're going to share with you a little bit more about Mary Kay, but the best thing that it does is it helps your consultant. She's new, she's growing, she wants to grow her team. So the more questions you ask her about how Mary Kay works as a business, the more that she learns. So while you may be learning about the opportunity, she's really learning more about the opportunity too. So I need all of you to participate with me and ask me questions. So then we just play the ticket game. And they ask questions. And now it depends. If I have a smaller group of people, this is a lot easier. So my close with a smaller group of people, if I've only got like 4 or 5 people around the table, then I can say to them, you know, what, you know, after we're all done, before I do my close, and everyone we've had, they hammer me with questions. Like, I have to stop the questions at 20 minutes because A, I'm like exhausted from talking. B, I'm like, oh my gosh, they've asked me 70 million questions. So then we get to the point where I say, okay, I want everybody to think about what's the best thing that could happen if you tried Mary Kay. So I normally go around, and you can flip it. You can do worst case or best case first. It doesn't matter. I've done both. So ask them what's the best thing that could happen. And I go around the room and I say, so think about your life. Think about your lifestyle. Think about your credit card debt. Think about the vacations you haven't been able to take. Think about the job that you hate. Think about those things. I'm like, we're in La La Land. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just asking you questions. So what's the best thing that could happen if you were to give Mary Kay a try? And so I go around and they all tell me, like, I get to go on vacation. I get to pay off my credit card debt. I get paid for my kid to go to school. So they give me all those. And then I say, okay, so knowing that it's $100 investment because they've asked me that question, and knowing that we don't have quotas, meaning that there's no certain amount that you have to buy, that this is how I already explained how our active status works and placing an order one time a year. What's the worst case scenario that happens by purchasing a starter kit for $100? And so then they go around, and every single one, it's like, well, you know, I get some great products, I get my own products at discount. So they all give me their worst case scenario. And then I just say to them, okay, so this is one last thought I want you to think. Is it worth it? Is it worth $100? For the worst case being, I'm going to get a bunch of free products in my starter kit and or get my own products that cost from here on out. And the best case being something might change in my life, that this could be the one thing that now I get to go on vacation. Now I get to pay off my credit card debt. Now I get to send my kid to whatever college that they want to go. Is it worth the $100 to take that chance? Are you willing to, or would you be willing to invest $100 to possibly change your outcome? And I say, I realize that it's not 100% guaranteed. This is going to be whatever you put into it. But I also realize that we've paid $100 for worse things. So why not pay $100 and take a chance? And then I say, okay, so we're going to pass out some guest sheets. I'm going to have you guys fill them out. I do want to let you know, if you do decide to join our team tonight, you get what I always give, a gift. For anybody who wants to join, it's either a full-size satin hand set or a roll-up bag. So anybody who wants to join tonight is going to get this when they sign and pay for their kit. And so we're going to pass around the sheets for you guys to fill out. And if you choose you want to start your Mary Kay business tonight, you also get 15 extra tickets into the door prize drawings. So go ahead, take your time, fill them out. If you've got more questions, just put your hand up, call on me, ask your consultant, whatever you need. And then that's it. We take a few minutes, they fill out their sheets, they talk to their consultants. At some point, Paige is handing out tickets and woohooing for somebody, you know, because they're going to become a consultant. And then that's it. We pull for door prizes and lots of hugging. And
Do you have an opinion on their guest sheet, or do you actually
Yeah.
just have an agreement with it?
no, for their guest sheet, it's like an ancient guest sheet that I got when I think I was in DIQ. And yeah, it's an opinion poll. That's it.
So, jeans?
Yes, normally it's casual. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're at a pizza joint, or even if I'm at their home, I try not to come. I normally do, like, I wear this stuff normally when I'm out running errands. So sometimes I'm in a skirt or a dress or whatever, but I don't like make a big effort to change if I'm in cute leggings and a long top and boots or whatever. You know, I just try to look cute.
And what happens if they've invited people that haven't tried product?
It's never really an issue. We don't, it's honestly never come up unless they say, occasionally it's been like, I really want to do this, but I haven't tried the product. And then I say, absolutely. Well, there's two ways we can go about this. It's you're going to have enough faith in us and in this awesome selling product that it's going to work, but you can go ahead and purchase your kit and then we'll get you a facial and get you to try everything. The other benefit about that is I really didn't use the product when I started selling Mary Kay, so I can relate to that. So I can talk to them about that. I really only started on skincare after I started selling Mary Kay. So I kind of relate to them and talk to them about that. Yes, Georgie has she not tried this? Yeah, so Georgie, her new consultant, has never tried, and this was the other thing. They don't bring it up. I don't know until they get order their kit, and then they're like, oh, hey, I should probably try this stuff. Yep, good idea. So Paige had a new consultant, Georgie, who came. She signed up. She came in with an inventory, and I mean, she loves the products, loves them, but didn't try them until after she became a consultant.
I guess in reality, I never did either. This is stuff I used so darn long ago. Wasn't even
Right.
really, it was like a freshener here and there.
Yep. And I do try to coach my consultants a little bit. Like, you know, Paige, I trust her obviously in her judgment, but for new consultants, I say, listen, I'm going to be talking about the opportunity there. So it is great if they watched my video, my marketing video. That's just more awesome for you. And they get entered to win the coach purse, and or somebody that you love on your team, and or just somebody that you facialed or had at a party. But I also encourage them to sell it as a fun girls' night out, not will you come and hear more information. Obviously, if they have people that are interested, they can say, hey, listen, my director is going to share more this day that the Pizza and Possibilities come. But most of the people come for a girls' night out and free pizza and prizes. Yes.
My question is for Paige.
So when you were inviting people, what did you say?
Like Georgie and Karen and I just did a one-on-one, and Georgie participated in my Facebook thing. And so I said, if you aren't busy, because I know she heard a live show, so I goes, if you're not busy, you just want to come to Daisy's and we're gonna have, you know, a merry get together and talk about your pizza. She was all for it. But some people are like, no, I can't, you know. Shanna, same thing. She bought some off my Facebook party. I said, you know, come and give away prize and stuff like that.
Any other questions?
Each travel far to do these.
I mean, right now, what's growing is around my home because that's what I've been working and cultivating, but I'll go anywhere. I mean, my natural rule with my business right now is an hour from my home. And that's just because of my kids and their schedules and my husband's shift.
Yeah, my two top people, one's in Columbus and one's in New Jersey.
So if there's people out of state, I would probably make them show up a little bit more before I would go and do it.
But if they're top people.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're seeing people.
And they're seeing people.
Yeah.
So
Just a detailed question, who pays for the pizza?
Me. Yep. And as you grow, like, I mean, really guys, it was like $16 for 2 pizzas. Like, and they can get whatever beverages they want. The last 2 times I've done it, the bill was $21. I'll take the tax deduction. And when I did it at Tessa's house, I picked up the pizza. It was Little Caesars. It was $5 for 1 pizza for us. So it doesn't, you know, I'm happy to do that. When I do it in my training center in a controlled setting, it's $5 per consultant and guests are free. And that's just what we do.
So for the detail consultant who says, what should I say to invite people? What would you say?
I text them what to say. So I will formulate a text and just say, hey girl, my director's coming in. I'm working on growing to the next level in my business. And basically I just need people to come, listen, have free pizza, earn prizes. Would you be one? I'm working to get 5 people here on Thursday night.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Stay up here, stay up here. You can keep applauding though. So what did you hear that you want to share with Jamie that you loved? Or
I love the new thought. Like, we all need to encourage our consultants to share the opportunity, and we all need to get out and meet new people. And you just made it seem so simple because the detail people stress about the details, and that's really beautiful. So easy.
Cool. You're welcome.
Jamie, I'm an introvert, and so,
I am too, actually.
you know, the whole honoring working women and all that. Because the divas and donuts, I could do that 10 minutes, you're in, you're out.
Yeah,
you don't have
it's
to
great.
really
Yep.
Interact too much with people.
Yep.
And I love the pizza and possibilities. I love that, doing it differently. Because when I've done it in the past, you know, I just didn't want to get, it was my training center and we were dressed and people didn't come. And they
Right.
just-
Yeah, the more casual it is, the better results you get, and the more like I relax and they relax. And I've had so many pizza and possibilities that are me, the consultant, and the guest, and we talk about our kids, we talk about you know, and then we talk about Mary Kay. But I can generally look them in the eye. It's just doing an interview. It's
And
just
that's
not.
what
That's all it
works
is.
for me is because if I can get in front of somebody, I can sign it. But so being relaxed like that works. So that was great. Thank you.
And it gives your consultants wins, you know, and they see how excited other people are, whether they're excited about the business or not. They see other people's perspective, you know, so that maybe the woman sitting there might go, oh, my sister is kind of like this girl here, and maybe my sister might be a good referral, you know. So there's lots of cross-pollination of things that can happen from that too. Thank you with that. So Jamie, I love that you first of all, I love that you were willing to jump back in for you. You know, many people have gotten to a place and then their business has slid backwards and they've never changed it. And you made a different decision to be able to do that. And that took courage, and it took heart, and it took willingness, and it took some humbling, you know, at the same time of being able to do all of that. I always love how you take an idea and you put your own spin on it, and how you make it simpler and easier and more fun.
Thank you.
And then teach all of us how to do that at the same time. Would you give it up for Jamie Bittner? Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, all right, well, let's do a little bit of recognition here. So, first of all, do we have any DIQs in the room today with us? Yay, Paige! Paige, would you stand up and tell everybody a little bit about you? Everybody wants to know you. Wait, I'm gonna turn the camera. I'm gonna turn this around so that yeah, it's okay, so that they can see. Can you guys see Paige? Wait, Paige. There we go. All right. Awesome.
She's like, get back.
There we go, Jen. So you don't have to like twist your head. All right.
So what do you know? So I did Mary Kay like 11 years ago. I was young and stupid and quit. And then I actually invited Jamie, or I asked her to come to a Mary Kay party for me because really I wanted her to do a party for me. I was selling jewelry at the time, so I kind of had an ulterior motive. And she didn't talk about the opportunity because I think she wanted to respect the fact that I was doing something else. And I followed her out to her trunk to get the supplies afterwards. And I said, "Can I sign up again?" And I think she was pretty shocked.
I was.
And so I kept like, can I get started? Can I get started? And I mean, I feel like you pretty much recruited. I feel like you've done all the work for me. But yeah. And then the 10:53, the night of January 31st, I don't think I let you know that I made it. I wanted her to wait and get on the website because every 5 seconds she's on the website, look at the numbers. And I'm like, have you checked your email? So the next day,
There you go.
I started.
So what else do you do?
I work at MedExpress full time.
Okay. What do you do there?
Purchasing and infrastructure supervisor, so I could do everything.
Okay. Tell about your family.
Married 4.5 years, I think. Been together 8, 2 step kids, 21 and 17. And I have a little niece who's like the love of my life. So that's usually what I do. Doing Mary Kay or working.
And what? So did you drop your other business?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
As soon as I had that spark for Mary Kay, I jumped out.
So when you quit before, did you ever think about returning from it? Yeah. What made you not?
And then in the 10 years that had passed, never would I have thought that I would go back to Mary Kay again. Never. And I always thought about Jamie because I saved her contact in my phone and never erased it. And like I would go through and text, I wonder how she's doing, but I never reached out to her. It was just weird.
Yeah. So what did you see and what did you feel that day?
When I signed up,
Yeah.
I was like ready to just dive in, excited. I went to her house because she did have a jewelry thing for me. I didn't even want to do the show. I just want to talk about. I was like, just give me Mary Kay. Let's look at colors and talk about how do I get started. And I'm like, I don't even want to be here for the jewelry. I don't care. So.
There you go. Right. Well, that's important because oftentimes you're going to have a consultant who says, I think I might want to send it back. And I love to tell stories of Paige, who said, you know what, when she quit, she thought about sending things back. For some reason, she didn't. For 10 years, she had no interest whatsoever, started selling another company, and then her path reconnected with Mary Kay, and her heart was reignited. And it was like, oh, bingo, this is where I'm supposed to be. What if she would have sent a product back? Because you just don't know as your life changes and goes through phases. So I love collecting those kind of stories to be able to share with people to say, hold on, is it worth $3,000 to close the door on an opportunity that might pay you millions down the road?
It's so funny because I still had my old pearls. I remember I earned pink earrings. I had those. I still have my mirror that's broken that lights up. I still have that. I still have my old brush set. This crazy stuff I found.
All those things. So what attracts you about leadership?
I don't know because I don't think I'm a good leader.
You're a
I
great
get
leader.
nervous. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just excited to. I like the little things like when Kim or Sue, when they like feel good about themselves and get a little bit of accomplishment, I like seeing them happy about it. So I like that.
Giving to other people and raising other people up. So exactly what Mary Kay created directorship to do. So way to go, Kate. All right, we're getting brand new directors in the room. So Lindsay, stand up and tell everybody a little bit about you.
I think Paige is probably the only one that doesn't really know me.
But there's people on the camera who don't know you.
I'm Lindsay Hellman. I've had my business for 14 years, and I just decided to become a director. I remember you.
Oh, really?
I do. Jamie was pregnant.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember my first Cadillac.
Yep.
Yeah.
The blueberry suit. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited. I'm excited about changes and really just having a bigger platform to speak on and affect other people's lives and certainly our own, which I think is ultimately most important. I have a 3-year-old. Who's 3?
No, Logan.
That's Logan. Yeah.
Sometimes we call him Austin.
Often, it's weird. It's very weird. I don't know what else.
Do you work anywhere else?
I don't. I have a background in graphic design and marketing, and I sold law enforcement software before I got pregnant with my son, and then I stayed home.
So what made the shift? Because for 14 years, you just kind of hung out.
Oh, well. I had open heart surgery, and that pretty much shifted everything for me. And it kind of just made me realize, what are my priorities? What is it that I want to do with my life? And what was I put here to do? And really looking at, am I doing what God put me to do? And I don't know what Mary Kay how that's going to lead me, but I do know that it's the pathway that's going to take me to accomplish whatever that is. So,
Excellent. Awesome. And what did you think of being at leadership for the very first time?
I loved leadership. It was really different. It wasn't what I expected. I loved having all of the different seminars there, but I don't know it as it was before. So for those of you who have been so many years, I really enjoyed that because I had never seen all of the nationals on the stage, and that was very impactful. I love seeing all the $1 Million directors, that it wasn't just the few people that had done it. It was lots of people. And I loved the energy that was created by having all of our powerhouse people in one place, national wise, top director wise, everybody. And I just think that was unique unto anything I had experienced within Mary Kay for so many years. I think that was nice.
Excellent. All right. Way to go, Lindsay. So think about that with your consultants. Think about any life event that happens in their life could be an opportunity to reopen a discussion. It could be their own illness. It could be a family member's illness. It could be a job change situation for them or their husbands. It could be that they're in one place for a really long time. Like nothing really has changed. And so what do you really want from your life? A baby can change somebody's life. Getting pregnant can change somebody's life. A miscarriage, all different kinds of things are opportunities to reconnect with people. Now clearly if it was a death in their family, you're not going to hey, let's talk about Mary Kay. But you're going to start you're going to do your natural love process with that person. And you may just give them some little extra time and attention and reconnect with them and then be able to open up that discussion, or just hey, what would you think about this? Or why don't you come to career conference? A perfect time to go back into your units and look and see who had a dream, who had inventory, who bought a starter kit and you lost her, but you knew she was somebody good and there was just other extenuating circumstances as well. Because people's lives change every 3 to 6 months. Ours don't, because we're set in where we're going, And so sometimes we just think the rest of the world is that same way because our life stays that way for a long period of time. So, hi, honey. Thanks, honey. Okay. Yeah. See ya. All right. Excellent. So let's do a little recognition. All right. So if we can have all of let's do personal wholesale count up, okay? And so personal wholesale, if your wholesale was at least that for a star consultant level, at least 600 wholesale in the month of January, would you stand up for a round of applause? Everybody who had 600 wholesale in for the month of January? Woo! Okay. And then if you had over 1,000, wholesale remains standing. Over 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700. All right, Laura. Woo! Jamie, what was yours? 1663. Awesome. And Laura, how about you?
It was 18 something.
18 something. Awesome. So come on up here and pick a prize from the prize table. So Laura, tell us some of your strategy in your selling.
My strategy was this past January was to get in front of faces and to reconnect with my customers. I have a fairly large customer base, about 200 customers, and over the holidays, I was not keeping up with them, so I just made a lot of customer service calls. I did a Super Bowl pool, and I saw faces. So that was what I did.
Excellent, excellent. Do you know how many faces you saw?
My goal was 30, but I think I probably only hit 20.
Only 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only 20.
Yeah.
Only 20.
That was good. Awesome. All right, good job. There's all different kinds of things there for you to pick up. So yes. So for Paige, as you're building, knowing that your 13% check, which is always something that you want to make sure that you can get every month, it's having 5 personals who order at least 225, and then you yourself doing a 600 wholesale. So always wanted to do enough business so that you never would miss that by accident, you know, that, oh my gosh, shoot, I had 10 of my team members order, you know. It's also why having a team member get a recruit is very wise in growing her business, because she usually won't go inactive because she'll miss out on commissions. So, and she's often not likely to quit if she has a team member. You know, it usually retains it helps with retention when you have people who are backed up with people. So as another piece of that. Okay, let's talk about personal recruiting. So if you added anybody to your team in the month of January, would you stand up for a round of applause? You know what? Sit back down for a second. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that up. When you do your recognition at your meeting, one thing that is really helpful is to have a place that everybody can win, okay? So when you open up for your sales, instead of saying who opened up your store, okay, that's how I always used to say it. When I was down at Kristen Sharp's meeting, one of the ways that she opened up was, if you talk to anyone about Mary Kay products this week, stand up for a round of applause. Because then everybody gets to stand. Okay, and then she jumped to, if you had a star consultant selling week of 300 or more, come on up front. Okay, so she's raising that bar up for people to do that. And I went, oh, I just really like that, because a lot of times you did talk to a lot of people, nothing booked that week, nobody needed anything that week, but you were doing your business, talking about Mary Kay, you know, to people. So that was how she did that. Okay. It was fun. Got everybody involved. Right.
It's true, because if you ask people if they open up their store, they're thinking, oh, I didn't hold any appointments. I didn't, even if they had a reorder. So it's changing the way they're thinking. Right. Love it.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So what would be a way that you could involve more people on a sales count up? I mean, on a recruiting count up. If you shared the opportunity. Okay. Could it go any broader than that?
Did you think of anybody you want to share the opportunity with? You asked to listen to the opportunity. Did you tell anybody how much you loved your Mary Kay business this week?
That would be a good one.
You can tell your husband that every day.
Yeah, but it gets to do that. Yeah. So if you said that, because if you talk to people, they may not have gotten to talk to people, you know? So if you told anybody how much you love your Mary Kay business in this last week, stand up for a round of applause. Stand up for a round of applause, all of you, in this last month. If you told anybody how much, there you go, awesome, all right. If you actually got to share business information with anybody in the month of January, would you remain standing for a round of applause? All right, excellent. If you had a new personal recruit, would you remain standing? New personal in the month of January. Awesome. 2 or more remain standing. 2 or more. 3 or more. Yay, Paige! Woo! Paige had 4. Come on up, Paige. Take a prize from the prize table. Turn it down. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Paige, when you're sharing with people about the business, were they all Pizza and Possibility people, or were they people that you recruited?
This month, 2 of them were, and 2 of them were ones that kind of threatened. I was like, you're my family, and I need you. Yeah, so. And they were consultants before, too.
Right. So they would do that, absolutely. Uh-huh. And you know, the longer that you stay in the business, the more people come back to you, you know? And I remember hearing that from Ann Sherman, and it would kill me when she would talk about, oh yeah, this person resigned. I'm like, oh, because that doesn't happen for me. Well, I just haven't been in long enough. You know, I actually had one of my consultants who emailed me yesterday, who's been with me, easily over 10 years, and said, I think I want to get my business started again. You know, so when you build relationships with people, you know, then, you know, and I was able to go, so are you still working out on 51 somewhere? I have not talked with her in 12 years, but just knowing what people do. And she said, yep, I'm still a tanning salon manager, you know, and I knew she got married. She has a little boy. So we'll connect and we'll go from there, but you just never know. So investing in people's lives always pays off. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do unit recruiting. So if your unit recruited anybody in this last month, would you stand up for a round of applause? One unit recruiting personal. 2 or more remain standing. 3 or more remain standing. 4 or more remain standing. 5 or more. 6 or more. 7 or more. 8 or more. 9. Woo! Awesome. We stand how many? 9. Way to go. And Jimmy? 8. Way to go. Come on up and stand and choose the prize from the prize table. Awesome. So Jamie, any other tips that you want to share?
No, Pizza and Possibilities.
Pizza and Possibilities. There you go. Yeah. Lisa, come up here.
I actually have made a commitment to go back. It's not called Pizza and Possibilities, which I like that. And I went through my local unit and I picked people that I want to see move up that wanted to be in a red jacket. I have some very specific goals about the number of red jackets I want to have by the end of June. And so I have an event every single day this week actually in somebody else's house. So that one last night was
And so we're just going in, we're doing basic skincare, teeny little bit of color, marketing, and then I do marketing before we do individual closes. That way it gives me a chance to one-on-one close people. And it's been great actually. And it was a crazy month. Closed my center, was all over the place, but was still able to get those appointments in. So
All right, way to go. Back to the kitchen table, right?
Back to the kitchen table. They now have a new television at Mary Kay headquarters
That has hashtag my MK life. And different people's stories and things are popping up on there, and Facebook feeds and Instagram and things like that. So Mary Kay corporate employees are seeing how what they do benefits all of our lives as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, isn't that neat? That's a really neat thing. So Linda Chupin had posted that, or Leah Carter had been there and posted that this past week. So, okay, great. So if you are working on your Chevy Cruze or in your Chevy Cruze, would you stand up for a round of applause? Working on it or in a Cruze? For the month of January. Why are you standing? Why are you sitting down? All right. So if you're hit at the $5,000 level or more, remain standing. 5,000 or more. 53. Jenny standing. Yay, Jen. That's our best month ever. Yay. So, Yay, turn around, tell them what your wholesale was for your month.
65.09.
Yay. How much in your check?
A little over 2,700.
A little over 2,700. And what was that month? What did it
had 2 new qualifieds come in, and I was just determined to hit that $500 bonus.
She got her $6,500 bonus. So, yeah. Anything else different that you did in the month?
It just worked.
Just worked.
Yeah, and I was determined. It was like non-negotiable.
Right.
Level 3 commitment. So
Level 3. Mhm.
yeah.
And so when we talk about level 3, the first level is I'll try. Level 2 is I'll do whatever it takes. Level 2 is sorry, I'm going to do my best. And level 3 is I'll do whatever it takes. Is that not to be confused with level 10 commitment on a 1 to 10 of how committed are you to that goal? You know, making it, but just where are you in what you're working on? So, so Jen also resigned from nursing. So so exciting. And why did you resign?
I just knew that wasn't my place anymore. And I was thinking about that for a long time. And that's really the reason I came into Mary Kay, was because I didn't want to do that anymore. And I just knew it was the time. Yeah.
Well, Jen, I know that what happened for you in January was not just that you just decided to decide. It was that you decided to make sure it was going to happen, but it's also a result of the consistent work that you have been putting in over these last 6 months. And that, you know, working no matter what. And what I love about what you're doing is not only are you doing it, but you're encouraging other people to come along in the journey with you. And how you encourage people and you pull out the best characteristics of everybody that are around you and praise them to success as well. You are just always so good about putting that spotlight on everybody else. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You want to come up and take a prize? So thank you. Thank you. All right, so if you are Premier Club level, would you stand up for a round of applause? Awesome. We have brand new Premier Club just picks up cars in the last 3 months. 3 months, right? December. Gary Walter. Awesome. All right. So if you hit 6,000, remain standing, 6,000 or more, 7,000 or more, 8,000 or more, 9,000, all right, 8,000, back up at 8? Yeah. 8,000, stand back up. Gotta figure out the exercise. Right? 8,100.
It was 80-15.
80-15. 81-91. So Terry, come on up and take a prize for you, representing your work for this month. So congratulations to you as well. Some of them you've already seen though.
Some of them I have. I'm like,
Right.
Here's another set of that.
I know. Well, sometimes they get tarnished or they break or, you know, whatever. So excellent.
My consultants love this. I should get it for them.
There you go. And you know, when Terry, this car for Terry was a different car, you know? And so I love how Terry has navigated through this change because she was, for those of you who heard, unit was at a Cadillac status and now they're at Air Club status. And I always remember when Jamie, that same situation happened to Jamie, and Mike looked at her and said, "A free car is a free car. Who cares what color it is?"
I know.
You know?
I've done that up and down car stuff, and I wish I would have the option to Cadillac, but I've gone from Premier down and back, and I remember looking when I said, "Oh, you have a different car." I said, "Yeah, the worst thing that could ever happen to you and Mary Kay happened to me. They gave me a different free car."
Yeah. I mean, really, you know?
Yeah.
Because we are not defined by your bar pin, you're not defined by your car, you're not defined by the color of your blouse. What you're defined by is, did you do what you're supposed to do with your life on earth? You know, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're investing in people who want big things, and sometimes we're investing in people who don't. You know, and sometimes because we, as called to be leaders in Mary Kay, one of the things that we do is we see things always through rose-colored glasses. And so we can believe in people for longer than what they're telling us we should believe in, you know? And so sometimes we just don't catch and pivot that quick enough to keep moving into somebody else. And I will always remember when people, you know, when people are at the top of their game, that's one thing. But when people are not at the top of their game and how they still show up powerfully, that they still show up others focused,
that they still show up with their head held high in a position of grace. You know, and I learned that very early on when I was, I think, in DIQ, and I saw a director who was a Cadillac director who moved down to Premier Club, not moved down, but changed to Premier Club status. And nobody ever knew that. The guy was, because I expected it to be an outward thing, you know? And so Terry, none of that has existed, you know? And so I praise you for that. And I know that, you know, where you are working in your mind, you know, on that, but also understanding that a car represents more than your own single efforts too. That it represents the number of people that you're working with and what they're doing with their businesses. So we are all Cadillac women. We just may not all drive that. So give yourselves a round of applause. Cadillacs, stand on up, all of our Cadillac drivers. Hey, seriously, can we change this? We need more Cadillacs. It looks hard when there's not more Cadillacs, right? We need more Cadillacs. Mary Kay wanted every director to be driving a Cadillac level car. So I just really want to encourage you on that piece. I earned my Cadillac on my personal unit. Do you remember how you earned your first one?
Oh, it's definitely my personal unit, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? Do you remember?
I had an on target in the DIQ. That's my first one.
The first one. Yeah. And you know, I'll tell you, when you have your personal team that does 16,000 wholesale, it's pretty darn sweet. Yeah. 36%, or I'm sorry, 23%, 26%. Sorry, 26% on your personal team.
Plus your 10%.
Plus your 10%. Yeah.
Give me an idea what that looks like.
What are you talking about?
My personal team, my goal, I heard Kathy Hulu say this when I was a brand new director, to shoot to have your personal team always do Cadillac production.
Yeah, I've heard that for years. But what does
So,
your paycheck look like?
how much?
5,760. Just on your, what's the, then you're gonna get like another 1,600.
My 13% check is typically anywhere from 1,100 to 2,000. 13% of ours.
Okay. That was 36%.
My 13% check ranges from 1,100 to about 1,800 Just the 13% part.
How many personals do you?
I currently only have 44.
Only 44.
My goal is, it's killing me. My goal is to always be above 50.
Okay. Yeah. Jamie, how many personals do you
I'm
have?
right at 30.
Right at 30. Yeah.
Shut up.
What-
30 live.
So if you have your personals doing 16,000 at 26% is $4,160 on your 13. So that's your 13% on your unit and 13% personal, and then a $1,600 bonus.
That's assuming nobody.
$5,760.
And that's if you don't have any other people.
Okay.
Right.
I just needed a perspective. Thank you.
You get it? It's a good one.
I've been carrying around Lauren's check.
Right. So that on a year's basis is $69,120.
Okay.
Just from your personal team. Just from your personal team. Not including your sales, not including the rest of your unit or anything else. Okay. But just including that. So yeah, my personal team is about between 60 and 70 is my personal team. And they usually do around 10,000 if I don't do much of anything else. So if I personally recruit, it'll go over that, but they usually are pretty solid for 10,000. Yeah, and there's usually about 35 of them who are active all the time, usually on that. Yeah. So if you're like, okay, if I had 35 personals, you're probably doing Premier Club. What's your personal team?
About 25.
About 25. Anybody else is, Terry, you were close.
About it. It's embarrassing.
Okay.
It's not even, it's embarrassing. Honestly, I'm embarrassed to get this because I did not hit Equinox production. I don't think I should get a prize for that.
You can be kind to yourself.
I don't deserve that.
Okay, so Cadillacs, at least 10,000
10,000 wholesale remains standing. 10,000. 11,000. Yes, give a round of applause. 12,000. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. All right. Yay! 16-1. Awesome. Okay. Lisa Ann?
31,555.
31. Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. If you hit your bonus of your if you hit your $500 bonus, would you stand up for a round of applause? Are you gonna do Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
So now I'm gonna bring in our next speaker, who will be Lorraine, as soon as she comes back from the trip around the corner. The trip around the corner.
One of the things that I want to share with you, some words to think about changing in your vocabulary.
The power of words.
Lauren doesn't need to leave it here, you know?
No,
Okay.
that's okay. She needs a half hour, so it should be good. As soon as she comes in, I'm done. I'm feeling fine. Okay, so instead of saying disempowering words in one category, empowering words in the other. Okay. So a disempowering word would be I want. I want is disempowering. Instead to say I choose, I'm passionate about. So it pulls things to you. And then I'm going to stop here and I'll finish back up with this. So, because I want Lorraine to come, because I know she has 30 minutes and she's out the door then. So, all righty. So would you please welcome first time Premier Club Director, Lorraine Staley.
Actually, it's not first time. I was in Grand Prix.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I had 2 Grand Prix and now. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I brought my watch because I'm back out the door, back to the airport in half an hour. So Kim asked me to talk a little bit about something that I've been doing with my unit that I learned in December. I've been working with Deb Erickson as a coach for 3 years now, and right now I'm in her, which is where I'm going to Albuquerque this afternoon. I'm in her year-long program that she's running on becoming a leader, becoming a strong leader, because I'm in the clock countdown, you know, for where I am in my business. I'm at 32 months. So if I decide I want to go national, I have 32 months. So, and then I'm done. So I am working with her. So I was in Santa Fe for a workshop in December, and she did something that I had never done before, which was a branding exercise. Has anybody done anything like that before? A branding exercise. So this was new for me, and it was a big, you know, when you talk about a light bulb moment, it was a huge light bulb moment, huge. And it was one of those experiences that completely changed the trajectory of my business and how I approached my unit, how I worked with them, and how I approached my new team members and who I was looking for. And, you know, sometimes when we do that and we have these big epiphanies, what happens then is everything kind of falls apart for a little bit. So my January, you know, at 8,000, I thought, what was that? And I'm looking at February and thinking this is even worse. But I think it's because I'm shifting everything. And so there's a little bit of you know, things falling apart so that they can come together in a different way. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we did and how we did it. And then I spent all of my unit meetings in January. I did this with my unit. So it was 4 weeks. I did this in January with them, and it has changed all of them as well. It's been really, really fun. And so I want to tell you what I did, and then I'm going to have you get started on it. You won't be able to do the whole thing today, but you can go home and work on it yourself. So what she said was, she had this quote, and I love this. She said, "When I am myself, I have no competition." That was a quote from somebody named Barbara Cook. "When I am myself, I have no competition." So what she talked about a little bit at the beginning was the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Kim was telling you she comes at this from a neuroscience perspective and neurolinking and assigning your neural synapses and how you think. And so she talked about the conscious and the subconscious in why we signed our agreement.
So we're going to talk about why you signed your agreement. So we all have an I story. You know, we talk about this all the time. And my I story was when I said, you know, isn't it boring after a while? You know, I say it and I think that, and yeah, it's like, you know, try to run. I hear it over and over, and I thought, this is, if it's boring for me, what's it like for everybody else? But mine was, you know, I had a daycare in my home, and we had always had a Schedule C business, and so I signed for the money to be able to have it, still have a Schedule C business, 1099, and I was looking for something else to do, so I didn't have a daycare, and my husband said this was a good idea for the money. How boring is that? That is not inspiring at all. But that was my conscious I story. My conscious I story. So that's what I've been saying for 22 years until December. That was what I said. I thought I signed my agreement for that. I was so wrong. That was not why I signed my agreement at all. So when I did this little exercise and I had this epiphany of why I really signed my agreement, it was so shocking to me. And then I realized I have worked my whole business for this other reason, and I didn't even know it. And so one of the takeaways was, when we know why we really signed our agreement, like this visceral subconscious reason, and it's subconscious, so we don't consciously know it, but it's why we signed our agreement, then we can, as directors, consistently fill that need, that subconscious need that now we know what it is. So we can fill that need and get what we need. And with our consultants, when they actually know why they signed their agreement, they're going to stay, because they can then work their business to fill that need. And I'll tell you what happened in my unit in January in a minute here. So what happened with me was, we did this little exercise, and I'm going to tell you how we did it in December, and then I'll tell you how I did it with my unit. And then you can figure out, you know, what works for you, because we won't have time to do the whole thing. But I'll tell you how. But when we did this little exercise, what it is remembering, it's a very visceral experience. And if you're a kinesthetic learner, you'll love this. I'm a visual learner, so I had to really work at it, but is to remember who we were. Who is she at that moment? And I'll walk you through the questions, but who is she? And I realized that who I was at that moment was lost. Like there I was, you know, an introvert in my house with a daycare. Can you imagine? Like my whole life was Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and little potty chairs lined up in the kitchen. And that was, and no wonder Kim didn't even talk to me about the business, because who would recruit me? Nobody. So, but true. But in my head, I knew that I was destined for something more. And I was feeling lost. And I felt invisible. So the reason I signed my agreement, and this was my epiphany, and it blew me out of the water. The reason I signed my agreement was to be seen. It had nothing to do with money. It was because I felt lost and invisible, and I had no power, and I knew that God's call for me was bigger than this. It's not that I wasn't doing a good thing. It wasn't that my 3 children didn't need me at home. He knew that they did. But it was bigger than that. And somewhere in me, I knew that. And so subconsciously, I was looking for a place where that could come true, where that could happen. And so that's why I signed my agreement. I had no idea that that's why I signed my agreement. So one of the things that has happened as a result of this, you know, when I started connecting the dots, it was amazing to me, was I always talk about my business as a train station, that I have, you've heard this, I have so many people who come into my unit, and then they have this epiphany of, now I know what God wants me to do, and they leave. And that is my Mary Kay business. So I'm actually repeating what I did for me, because we are who we were is our target market. That's who we're attracting. We are our target market. So I've always, and I didn't know, I've always for 22 years attracted women who are kind of lost and invisible and feeling powerless. And then I've been working, not even knowing this, like, what is God's call in your life? Who are you supposed to be? And they say, I'm supposed to be a nurse. I'm supposed to be a teacher. I had a woman I recruited last fall who is just a powerhouse. And she lives up near Clarion. She has like 5 businesses. She's doing all this stuff. And we got together in January and she said, you know what I'm really supposed to do? I just signed up to get my PhD and I'm going into politics to change education in this state. And I thought, I cannot believe this is happening. She said, thank you so much, because without my Mary Kay experience these last 6 months, I would not have known what I was supposed to be doing. And I thought, why am I not finding people who know that they're supposed to be directors? But I realized so that's a little tweak I have to do so that I can find people actually thinking Mary Kay is where I'm supposed to be. Because that's not what's happening. They're all out there doing fabulous things. I have a woman in my unit in Texas who just resigned from her job. Her job was CBS Radio, and she had a personal interview with the president in January. And I talked to her and I said, how was it? She said, it was so great. And you know what? Because of Mary Kay, and I thought, I can't believe you're going to say that. I quit my job in radio and I am going into television and working with the White House. I said, that's great. I'm so happy for you. Why couldn't it be in Mary Kay? So this is what's been happening. So I have to tweak that, but now I know why it's happening. Because our target market is finding us because they see that in us the transformation that they want. Because we were where they are, and they see where we are now. So one of the questions is, what is the transformation that you are providing? What is that only you can provide? What is the transformation that you provide? Because we were our target market. So what is the transformation that I provide? Why does she want to work with you? It's because of the transformation. We're not where we were. At least I don't think we are. We're not where we were when we signed our agreement. Something has happened to change. And so we've transformed. So they see this. Now, I have to tell you that the women in your unit do not know why they signed their agreement. And the women who are signing their agreement do not know why they're signing their agreement. But there's something that is drawing them to you subconsciously, that they're looking for something. You know, I always say to my unit, that which you are looking for is looking for you. So you got to get out there so it can find you. Because if you're not out there, they can't find you. She can't find you. So when we did this in Santa Fe, we did this with a partner, and we don't really have time to do this, but I would recommend that you do that. I'll walk you through it today, but I would recommend that you get with another director and do this with a partner. And so that, because it's really helpful to have somebody else like being your recorder when you're doing it.
Does it matter if that person knows you really well?
No, it's better if they don't.
They don't, okay.
Yeah, it's better if it's somebody who doesn't know you very well. And then whenever I did it with my unit, I walked them through it, because you close your eyes to do it. I walked them through it. And then there were only about 12 of them there that night. So I actually did it. They all did it with me verbally, like each one of them. And at the end, I kid you not, every single person was in tears and sweating, and I had to pass out chocolate because I thought they're all going to be on the floor. It was so powerful. But I did. I had Hershey Kisses, and I passed them out to give them a little sugar high to lift them up again. But since then, they talk about it all the time, all the time. So I think the best thing to do is just to walk you through it. I don't want to we'll do it, and then I'll read you the questions afterwards, and you can write them down. Or even better, I can just type it up and send it to Kim, and she can send it out to you in a document. Because it's not, I got home last night at 5 and went to my meeting. I'm on my way to the airport again. So it's been a little bit of a crazy 12 hours. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to walk you through this so that you can feel it. I want you to feel what this feels like. because it's a visceral experience. So you have to put both feet on the floor, put your hands in your lap, and close your eyes. And you have to keep your eyes closed. And the first thing you want to do is breathe. Just take a couple of really deep, if you do yoga, a couple of ujjayi breaths, but really deep inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And just be calm. There's no pressure here. Just be calm. This is only your story. So I want you to hold this space and just sit there in the space and get the snapshot of the woman you were before Mary Kay, so that you feel her. The woman you were before Mary Kay. How old is she? So get right with her. How old is she? What is she wearing? What is she doing? How is she feeling right now in this moment? How is she feeling? When she started her business, how was she feeling in her life? What is the most important thing to her at this time in her life? What's missing in her life? Late at night, this is a hard question. Late at night when she closes her eyes, what weighs on her heart? What keeps her up at night? And then when you have that feeling, I want you to remember your mountaintop experience in Mary Kay, a moment that you had that was a mountaintop experience. And what you felt. Okay, so you can open your eyes. So when you're doing this with a partner, so don't lose it, don't lose it. So when you're doing it with a partner, you would do that, and then you would do it again, and you would start to talk. So, and she would write down keywords that she's hearing. So when I did it with my unit, they would start to talk and we would hear the same word over and over and over and over. And that's the point. That's like the pain point. That's the point of why you signed your agreement, why we all signed our agreement. And then flipping it to that's what you're looking for. And the mountaintop experience, so for me, I'll give you mine. For me, mine was to be seen. And then when I thought about my mountaintop experience, it was whenever Rena Tarbett called me up front as Miss Go Give for the year. And it wasn't until I did this experience that I realized it was because I was seen. I wasn't invisible, I wasn't powerless. And that I had that impact on people's lives. I didn't know that. I didn't realize why it meant so much to me. So one of the things I've been doing is really working to be more visible, like earning things. How many of those little jazzy things on my badge can I get? Because then I'm seen. So for me, it's really changed how I'm working my business, because I am not an I, so I don't work for prizes, but I'm working for prizes because it's not that I want the prize, it's that I want to be seen. So seen is my word. What comes out of it is a word. So in my unit, when we did this, the words that came out, one person was validation. because she was in a job that just was tearing her down, and she felt like nobody really put value on her life, not on her work, on her life. And another person whose word is celebrate. She was, as a child, really chastised for being so big and full of life and told to calm down. And she just is a bigger than life person. And so hers is celebrating herself. So the way that they're working their business is very different. And when they looked at their teams and the person that brought onto their teams, they see that that is who they're attracting. And so they're able to work with their teams there. Is this making sense? Okay, so I thought, okay, we have a few minutes. We could either do it, you could do it with a partner here, or I could play with somebody who feels like you want to talk it through in the group and you can see what it looks like. Thoughts?
I have a question. Do you make them talk like whenever you're taking them to the bad place and make them talk at their mountaintop?
Well, first of all, it's not a bad place, really. It's a place, yes, both, because they're connected.
I think I would suggest taking one person.
Okay. It's not really a bad place. Everybody's like, pick me. It's not a bad place. It's more a place of, there's a pain point there, but it's a place of searching. So it's a place of seeking for something. And subconsciously, we know what we're doing. We just aren't consciously aware of it. Yeah. So is there anybody who wants to talk it through? Lisa-Ann, you're like, pick me. She's got her hand up back there. Okay. So I need a pen. I need to bring my pen up here.
Yeah, I want you to come up so nobody else, you're not paying attention to anybody with me. Because I don't want you to feel like, is there like a particular branch you could say about what mountaintop experience you get? I'll show you how this works. And then, yes, no, just one, the one that, here, turn so you're not looking, they can't see you. I don't know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is write, and you can also write and listen to the words. Okay. Yeah, okay. So close your eyes.
So you're going to actually do this. Okay. So I'll walk through the questions again, and then you just start talking. So I want you to think about this person who you were before you started Mary Kay. How old is she?
31.
31. Okay. And what does she wear?
Jeans, frumpy sweatshirt, tennis shoes or slippers.
What's she feeling?
Bored, lonely, not feeling like I'm contributing financially, wasting my education. Loved being a mom, but there was something missing inside.
What was the most important thing to her at this point in her life?
Chelsea, my daughter.
What was missing?
Me. Contributing. Using my mind. Knowing that, I know I was making a difference as a mom, but not making a difference. I just finished my master's and I wasn't using my brain, wasn't using my degree.
Late at night when she closes her eyes, what weighs on her?
Finances. Money, not contributing. Wondering what's next.
What else can you tell me about her?
Outgoing, but not confident on the inside. Love to pull people together, love to have parties. Love to go places, do things, get out of the house. It's actually saved. Well, no, that was before I was saved, actually.
So now think about, like, what was the first mountaintop experience that jumped into your head?
The first one?
What jumped into your head when I said that? Mountaintop experience.
It would have been seminar this last year. Was the first one. My first one was Court of Sales my first year.
And why was that a mountaintop?
Which one? This one, June.
Mm-hmm.
I pushed through settling. I had set a humongous goal and did whatever it took to get there. I felt like I was creating a great example for my kids. Was back at a place I knew I needed to be with the level of influence I knew that I could have. I wanted to share my story from stage, story of triumph. Getting people to think about, what if you don't share? Whose life is it? Whose life are you not impacting if you don't share? Like, what if you hadn't taken the time to share with somebody? And I really wanted Sue Kirkpatrick to have that moment in the sun of introducing me and being there on stage with me. I wanted to have the dress.
Okay. If you can
Expect to cry.
Okay. That whenever you cry, that's the neural wiring. Did you all know that? Whenever the tears happen, and if the tears happen, that's it. Like, that's the moment when the brain hits a different wiring. Like, that's it. That's it. So with yourself, when you're doing that, if you feel that happen, that's not emotion, that's a neurological thing. So it's a neurological experience. So the brain's firing. But the word you said the most was contributing. And at first I thought you meant financially, but that's not what you meant. What did you hear? Contributing. Impact. Yeah. That was the contribution. Yeah. Did anybody hear anything else? Any other word that jumped out?
Confidence.
Yeah.
I just see. Geez, that's what I was thinking about carrying on for myself. I always felt like she needed to contribute to her daughter what it would feel that she felt.
Because you did put those things together.
That's right.
Yes. And also, the very first thing you said was frumpy, and the very last thing you said was the dress.
That's funny.
So I got that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And you said brain 3 times. You talked about your intellect. You know, what I do is if I hear a word more than once, I put a little hashtag. And contributing, I was so many times, I just stopped writing it. You said it so many times. Yeah. So,
Oh, I get my little words.
yes, I'm like, yes, that's because I have mine from Julie in Chicago. I did it with her. So then start to think about who are your personals and how, like, is that who you're attracting and what's happening with them? Because contributing was your big thing.
I need my list.
But you can go home and look at that.
Okay.
And you really have to do this with somebody else who can record what you're saying so that they can note the word that you're saying over and over and over, because you will. And whenever we hit that moment, and it has to do with Chelsea, of contributing and having an impact on other women.
So then you put that in your iStory? Is that, I mean,
Yes.
where do you take that from here?
So then, okay, I can
Am I
say
done?
that. Okay.
Am I done?
So it completely changes your iStory, because it's not that you're going to like go through that whole thing, but instead of having this boring iStory of, I'm one of this, whatever, I can say, I can say the same thing, but just you want to change it. But change it a little bit and say, in a way I had kind of lost myself. I knew that God had a really big plan for me, and I didn't feel like I was getting there, and I didn't know where it was. And I really felt, and anybody who's a stay-at-home mom can identify with this, I really felt powerless and kind of lost and invisible. So I can put it into my iStory in a different way, and that is the place where we are most authentic, is when we can tap into that. And if she's looking for that, she will hear it. Maybe not consciously, but she will hear it, and she will want to be with you, because then you can go to the transformation. That, and then what I found was, but it makes it more genuine. And so what has happened to me since then is, and she will see the transformation and want what you particularly have to offer for the transformation. So the branding is a little bit different than coming up with a real cute slogan that describes your business that you can put on your business card. This is a branding of identity and who we are. And it's why women will sign their agreement and why they will stay, and why we signed and why we stay. But for the most part, and when I was in Santa Fe, there were nationals there were trip directors. Not a single person knew why she had signed her agreement until she did this exercise.
Wow.
So it was really good, and it was really fun to do with my unit.
When you did this with your unit,
Uh-huh.
how did that look? Because you didn't sit with each one individually.
No, I
You did
stood
sit
up.
them in partners?
No, I told them about it, that we were going to do it, and I did just what I did with you. I had them all sit with their eyes closed, and of course they're all like stunned. And then I had each one just do a little bit of like 2 or 3 minutes of talking it through, and we all listened for the words that we heard.
So you brought each one up front?
No, they just sat where they were. You could do it any way that you wanted, but it really has to be one of the things that I have with my unit is my meeting is a safe space. I talk about it all the time. So they feel okay doing that in a group. It would really depend on, and there weren't any guests. So it would depend on the dynamics of your group. So you could structure it however you wanted. I would not do it with my consultants myself, because the relationship I have is consultant director, and they might not be able to do it like that. It worked because their peers were there, all the other consultants who were listening.
So did you take notes too, or did you have the consultant?
We all took notes.
Okay.
And like you all said, contributing. I said, what was contributing? Everybody heard the word. And so everybody who did that now has a word that they have put into their iStory. That is their
Can
word.
I just say, I was totally unaware of that.
Yes.
Really? Really? Totally unaware that I said it more than one time.
but as you brought it up, it was like a light bulb went off in
Yes.
my head and went, that's exactly the difference.
Yes.
From before and now.
So when Lorraine went through the questions, what did you think it would have been? When she had us close our eyes right here in the group, what?
I honestly, I had more words like validate, celebrate in my head, but contributing just is hitting me in a different place.
Yes, and that's how you know. Like you said, the light bulb.
It wasn't until she started talking it
Yes.
out
Yeah.
that the true root, like having us think about it ahead of time, gets our brain going in that direction.
You have to talk it out. You have to.
Right.
It was actually picturing myself as that stay-home mom between job and Mary Kay. I really had to go there in my head. I've been there in a long time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's why the question is not who are you? The questions are who is she? Oh, you didn't catch that. All the questions is how old is she? What is she wearing? In present tense, what is she doing? Who is she? What is she feeling? Late at night, what keeps her up? What is keeping her up at night? It's present tense and it's third person, so it's she, not you. Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching.
So you said you did it at your meeting and you
Yes.
did one-on-one, you did share work,
Yes,
one-on-one with each person.
yes.
Okay.
I did.
Did you find that the last person that went was cloudy because of everything she's?
No, the last people who went needed to hear other people doing it in order to do it themselves.
Okay.
The people who went first were the ones who were like, please pick, like Lisa Ann was, please pick me. The ones who went at the end needed a little bit of time to see it. It has nothing to do with personality.
Cool.
So, yeah, a little different.
Does anybody know what they do Thursdays?
It's really hard to know unless you say it.
I really wish you were going to be a Bible study this week.
I'm sorry, Terry. I'm going to be far away.
I'll learn more and bring it home.
Okay.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you
Welcome, friend.
for stepping into who you really are and for shining your light and being bold to do that, because we love it when you do. Great. Awesome.
I tell you, when I did that, then the whole rest of the workshop, people would come up to me and say, I see you. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Great. Affirm Lorraine as she's getting ready to walk out the door. She's an incredible week. Her mom is not doing well and down in Florida, and she just dismantled her mother's house as well as set up all the financial things and everything else. And so it's been an exhausting 5-6 days for her, and literally came in last night, did her meeting here, and then she's leaving to go out again. So. Oh, yes, thank you.
Right. So Doreen, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I appreciate you being so good to Tim Curry, that you've taken in from this experience and this workshop that you did to share with all of us. That was awesome. That was amazing. Thank you very much.
So you haven't done it yet. You know how to do it, and I'll get you the questions, but you really don't do it until you sit down and verbally talk it through and somebody else listens for the words.
I just want to say to you that I have grown so much just being in your space, and you really have become a spiritual mentor for me. And I appreciate the way that God is using you to make a difference in people's lives, because you certainly are mine.
Anybody else?
Okay. Thank you, Lorraine. Safe travels. Yeah. When do you come back home? Okay. Great. Awesome. All right. So, if you went to leadership party, if you went to the Universal Studios party, would you stand up so we can appreciate you? Everybody went to Universal. Yay. Awesome. And went to the Gatsby party. Stand on up. So, yay. It was a special party. It was very fun. They didn't know it, but the Porn Star Awards were happening in the same hotel on the same floor level.
Can I just tell you a funny story about that?
Yeah.
So we walked in and the staff unusually a large quantity of staff from the door all the way back. I mean, like they were every couple feet. They were going this way, this way, this way. And I thought it was so odd that they were like, yeah, we see the escalator. It's all good. Because all the way around the other side. And I didn't catch it at first because I was just excited to be there. But after I learned what was happening, oh, wow, the people that were on the other side of the hotel, it was really quite interesting. It was pretty funny. And the staff was on, they didn't tell the staff either. They didn't know until after it was too late to change. So that was kind of anyway.
We knew as nationals, we knew. They told us when we arrived.
Yeah, too late to change anything. They're like, we never know when we book things in advance. So, yeah. Did you need, oh, you were just, yes. Yes. So they said they were doing, oh.
There was lots of really short dresses.
The dresses were like, you know, barely covering the butt, very form fitting, and a lot of this, and the men were gorgeous.
And some of them you weren't sure what they were. Just saying. Some of them you really weren't sure what they were saying.
Yeah.
So, it was very interesting. It was very interesting. My. So, yeah. Okay, so let me give you some of those words. Okay, so disempowering and then more empowering words. So the first one I said was I want, was disempowering, and empowering words were desire, passion, choose. That it changes how things come to you when you're using these kind of words. Okay. Disempowering would be accountability.
I agree.
Empowering would be an empowerment call or an empowerment conversation. Instead of a problem or issue, it would be challenge, right? This is so important to teach your consultants at a meeting, you know, because it totally just sucks all the energy out of the room when somebody goes, I have a problem, none of my things are holding. I have a challenge in my business, I'd like more appointments to hold. You know, total difference in how and what it does to the energy in your room. And so they don't know that unless we tell them, and unless we say, like, okay, reframe. You can have them actually draw a box, like, look at it, let's reframe. Because when they do that, even when conversations, when somebody says, why aren't you doing that Mary Kay thing? She can kind of go, reframe. She doesn't understand what this business is about, you know? But then she doesn't have to take it. It's almost like a thing that shifts her own energy when she does her own little draw of a reframe. How about I need to? These are disempowering. Need to, should, have to. Those are all shame-based words. Instead, the empowering words would be I choose to, I expect to, I get to, I am. Disempowering would be figure out or get out of it. What did you get out of it? That's kind of a disempowering word, where an empowering word would be discover. What I discovered, what I am discovering, what I want to discover. Disempowering would be get rid of, kill. Instead, an empowering word would be release. Disempowering would be better. Like I need to find a better way to do this versus I want to find a different way to do this. Disempowering would be my to-do list. kind of goes along with the shame kind of thing. And empowering would be your accomplishment list. It does, doesn't it? Just like it makes you want to sit up taller, right? Disempowering would be change. Empowering would be enhance, adjust, improve. Those were all words that was part of one of our coaching things as we went through things from this coaching exercise. The other thing that they taught us is that you should have a 4-color pen to take notes. And it was actually something that when Austin was studying, he took a Spanish class with a teacher who teaches ADHD and dyslexic children. And she said that they always take notes in 4 colors because your brain remembers things in different colors. And, Mary Kay always would say that the faintest ink is better than the most retentive memory. And purple is the most empowering color. It's the color of royalty. And so when we took notes, they have a little grid thing that they give you. And they encourage you to take notes, key points on a page, something that looks like this. Then you can make up anything, but you're putting borders, you're shading it, putting pictures in there just to help anchor things in differently. Laura's as a teacher.
Yes.
Tell us more about that, Laura.
I just think about how we have technology. Everything on a Facebook page or on the computer is really difficult because when you read a book, have you ever read a paper book and you remember exactly where on the page you saw that and you can go back and flip? And so doing this strategy is, like Kim said, you're anchoring it to your brain, you're enhancing it, you're paying attention to what you're writing, you're adding some creativity, you're using another part of your brain when you're taking those notes, and it will help you retain it. It will help it be more impactful.
Very interesting. It was very challenging for me. I didn't like it.
Do you think that has something to do with the visual learner versus the?
I'm visual. 65% of the people are visual. I'm very visual, and so I found that distracting because my memory wanted to remember which page it was on and where it was. So for me, that broke it. And she's like, if you don't like it, don't do it. But then I found myself when she released me from doing it, I still did it. But I also didn't like that I didn't have my own markers. So I said I need my own markers because some of the colors were too dark. They were too dark when I, did things. I'm like, you wouldn't believe how many people brought their own markers on the next day. Yeah, it was interesting. Well, and she had the light pink and I wanted the light pink and, anyway. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to share that. Isn't that goofy? The stupid, but what a little thing and how it can trip you up, right? Little goofy things. Okay, so whoops, sorry.
So, okay,
go ahead.
So this is the detail person.
Does
it matter what color you do things in?
No.
Like, does a certain color mean you should think about this more? Like, how we
No.
highlight notes? No, it's just randomly. When
No,
you feel like
especially when they don't give you a choice. It can't mean anything.
Whenever you feel like changing colors.
Right.
If you like a technology versus paper, there's an app called Notability. So you can actually, I can draw, I can highlight, I can, cut and paste, and then I can write. So you can do the same thing. It's called Notability.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you.
And even on the iPhone, the notes section on the iPhone now allows you to color and shade and highlight and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, a little creative side of
I'm
things.
supposed to
I like it
make
so much
points
better.
in purple and then something else in green. Is there supposed to be a system to this, or it's just
She didn't really give us any more detail than that. She just said you should be using multiple colors. Like everybody should have a 4-color pen to do things.
You'll decide what colors you like. I don't like to write in anything other than blue. Like when I have a black pen, it annoys me. So it has to do with what colors attract to you. It has to do with where you visually see things.
I know that in our networking group, when we sign our letters for things, they always taught us to use a blue pen versus a black pen, that blue is warm, black is harsh. So blue is more inviting, just like purple. Like one of the nationals said she always signs books in purple, or when she's asked to sign something, that she likes to use a purple marker because it makes it's a different impact on people's brains.
Every single handwritten note I got from Mary Kay, and I have a little file of them, was in purple ink. That's what she taught. Sue Kirkpatrick taught us to write in purple because everything.
Did she
Mary
say
Kay
why?
is in purple.
Just
Color
because
of royalty, it makes you feel good.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. This was an old school national that I was with. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. Very interesting. Purple. Everybody get a purple pen. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you in the last 15 minutes or 12 minutes here, and I'll probably end up breaking it out, was I wanted to share with you some of the key things that I teach people when I travel around the world and people, or around the nation, and people say, what were some of the things that you did or that you thought in your journey along the years? And I thought, gosh, I teach this all the time in different places, and I probably don't very often teach it in my own hometown because I think that people know it, or I've probably said it or whatever. And so, so I kind of tried to go back to when I was a brand new director in creating this class this last time and think about what were my thought processes that I had back at that time. Because my first 7 months, I did nothing. My first year, I hit the 0 club, and it wasn't until after that then we did 350. And so, I really didn't do a whole lot. I was, I was probably in that $5,000 to $7,000 range most of those months after I was a brand new director. Probably maybe 4,500, because I don't know, 5,000 was always the minimum for bonus. So I think it was probably kind of in that 5,000 to 7,000 range. And so the first thing that I thought was it started with belief. That it always starts with belief. And that's what Stacey James talked about at our National Summit, was that the difference between all the levels in Mary Kay is belief. What do you believe you should have in your life? What do you believe is possible for you? What do you believe? What do you believe about your ability to be able to go there or do there? Or should you be able to go there and do there? So what's your belief? And so that's where Heidi Gelser talked a lot about limiting beliefs. And so the limiting belief is when you say, I'm going here, and the little voice goes on your shoulder, in the back of your mind. And so, Deb Erickson has taught that it's helpful to know, is it a little girl voice because it's an insecurity that you have, or something that somebody told you when you were a little girl about what was possible or not possible for you? Or is it a critical parent voice that is in your head that says those things? And so what she talks about is, she says, if it's a little girl voice, you want to soothe your little girl. It's your inner child who's scared and nervous what happens, because that's an unknown area and territory for you. And so she talks about buckling physically, like seeing yourself as a child and buckling yourself in a car seat and self-coaching or self-soothing yourself and saying, Kim, it's okay. You know what? I know you're scared, but I'm the adult now and I can take care of us, and if it's a critical voice, like if, you came in here and you said, I want to go on vacation to the moon, and I go, why'd you want to do that? You'd be like, who cares, Kim? Shut up. You don't get to control my life, So knowing which kind of voice is speaking to you is helpful, I also believe that it's the enemy voice, that's there as well. And so what kind of statements, empowering statements, can you create for yourself to overcome your limiting beliefs? Okay. And so here's a couple things that I thought back then. Said, well, if all those people in Applause Magazine have done that, why not me? Like, certainly the columns and columns and columns of directors, they can't all be exactly the same like Lisa Ann Harmon, right? They can't all be the same like Jamie Bittner. They can't all be the same like Robin Rowland. They can't all be the same like Bonnie Crumman, who's like 80 now, right? And she's there. I mean, there's such a diversity of people that are there, that there's introverts, extroverts, different ages, backgrounds, walks of life. Like, there's not like some cookie cutter thing. It's that if all those people could do that, my thought was, I'm a hard worker. I'm willing to work to get there. And I bet I'd be willing to work harder than anybody else that was on that list. So that was my thought process, you know. For some people, their thought process might be that if all those people did that, okay, then I'm a child of God and I deserve those things too. You know, it might be scripture that God gave you a scripture verse, you know, that you might know. It might be that you know that you are great with people, you know, and that if you're great with people, that you can take that skill and that strength and go far. You might say, well, I can sell the cooties off this product. So if I can sell the cooties off the product, then having people recruit is just selling the cooties out of the opportunity, right? So what can you create in a belief statement for yourself? Maybe it might be you're a great teacher and you can get to people quickly and they can get the concepts and move on. And so if you're a great teacher, that you could get to those same things too. Maybe it's that this is just a new time and you love social media. You know, you can harness that power and so you can have it too for you. Or that you know it's a new time in the world that people are hungry for this opportunity. So just something that you can find to hang. And if you can find a couple different things to help overcome that limiting belief. But I know for me, I just kept looking at that Applause magazine and going, dang it, if all those people did it, I can get my name on there too. You know, I can get my name on there too. And in my national area back then, it was 144 names. It was an 11 by 17 hand-typed newsletter that her assistant did. And my goal was to get from the bottom of the back page to the middle of the back page, and then from the middle of the back page to the top of the back page, and then to get to the bottom of the front page, you know, and then to get to the bottom, into the middle of that, and then into the top 20, and then into the top 10, and then move my way up, you know. So I was always just competing against myself versus competing against other people as well. What could I do that I would have my own personal win on that? Okay. All right. The second thing was, how did I look at my business? And I've always looked at my business as a business and not as a hobby. I've always looked at it as an opportunity that it could be something significant to our family and that I needed it to be significant to our family. When I married Bob, I was 32, 31. 32, something like that. And he was 30, he's 7 years older than I am. So he was 38. And his dad died when he was 48 and probably would have died earlier, but Bob saved him many times. He had multiple heart attacks and Bob was a paramedic. So in the back of my mind, I could have been a widow and having two children to be responsible for, who their mom did not have a job that could provide for them, you know. And when you marry and you're divorced previously, you bring nothing into the marriage. And so I'm marrying a man who's almost 40, who has a daughter who's 13, who will be going into college soon, and a son who's 9, who will then be coming in, and then wanting to have a child of our own. And so my mindset was that I needed to treat this very seriously, because I didn't know, I couldn't count that I would always have a man to take care of me, you know? And so that I needed to be able to provide for our family should anything happen to him, because there wasn't a lot of retirement money set there. There was nothing there that was going to be released other than life insurance policies. And that was kind of it, you know, also needing to make time up for those kind of things that happened in our life. So I've always looked at my business and thought, how can I make at least $5,000 every month from it? Because that's what I needed to make to replace my corporate job since I had quit my corporate job. And so my strategy on that to make $5,000 a month was to sell $1,000 a week so that I could have $2,000 profit out of my personal sales. And knowing that if I was selling $1,000 a week, that I would then be able to be in front of enough people that I would be recruiting 2 to 4 people personally every month. And that would generate my director's check and my 13% check to be at least $3,000. And so that was my thought process. And I was like, I was bound and determined I was not going to ask my husband for money. I've never asked my husband for money ever. in my life. He has asked me for money, but I've never asked him for money. And so that was just really important to me, to have integrity for myself and to pull my fair share of our things. So how did I figure that out? It changed all the time to be able to work at that level. And initially it was getting to $1,000 any way I could, between reorders, between, you know, my party sales, between gifting sales, whatever. But then it became, could you get $1,000 on new business? Because that was really where the money was at, because then you were going to meet other people, you know, in that process. My third thing that I did was I looked at my time differently, and I looked at each day as having 3 time slots in a day. So that would give you 90 time slots in a month. So morning, afternoon, and evening. And on Saturdays, which I never liked working on weekends at all, but on Saturdays, you could actually, on a Saturday, have 4 time slots. Like you could do a 9 and a noon and a 3 and a 6, or a 10 and a 1 and a 4 and a 7. And if you double book them, that actually didn't give you just 3 time slots in a day. It gave you 8 time slots on a Saturday that you could work. Does that make sense to everybody? So if you picked up 5 extra on every Saturday in a month, you really now have 120 time slots that you can work in a month. And Linda Tupin has always taught that as a director, you need to be in front of people sharing the marketing plan 15 to 20 times every single month, so that you are in front of somewhere between 45 people to 60 people every month sharing the Mary Kay story. The more people at each of those, the better and quicker your unit will grow. And so even if you work a full-time job and you took away 40 time slots, because there's 10 each week, 10, you know, 5 mornings, 5 afternoons that you work, so 10 time slots, that's still 40 slots out of 120. That still means you have 80 time slots left to be able to work. And so for me, it took a lid off my thinking about time. And I went, instead of saying I don't have a lot of time, you know, or I'm so busy, is to say, really, what am I filling my time with? And being very much on purpose about where I wanted to work and how I wanted to be able to work. And so that changed a lot of things. I was a brat when I was a brand new director, and I didn't believe that the 3-party-a-week formula would work. And so I kind of did like 1 party and 1 facial, and I struggled. And talked to a couple people that I respected that were rookies of the year in my national area. And I was like, well, how hard do you have to work to be a Cadillac director? And they're like, well, how hard do you think you should have to work to make $75,000 to $100,000 a year? What would that require in a corporate job? You know? And I was like, oh. Because I really I wasn't working executive hours. I wasn't working executive level. I was just kind of throwing some work out there, thinking about it a whole lot more than I was really working. And so when I really started to focus in to be able to drive that $1,000 a week on new business, so that I was seeing, you know, 3 groups of people a week on new business personally, that things really started to change. And the other shift for me was hearing somebody say, because I was beating myself up, why wasn't I having teams following me? Why weren't people following me, you know? And I was praying for consultants, and I was getting consultants, but not consultants who really wanted to work. And so when I started playing for consultants who wanted to work, I started to get consultants who wanted to work. But when I heard somebody else say that they earned their Cadillac on their personal team, it just gave me like freedom to go work in where I was strong. And where I was strong was personally seeing people and personally recruiting and letting people come along in the journey. And now we know, you know, looking for your leaders and focusing in on that, and people with grit. Now my prayers for not only people who want to work, but people who have grit, who are hungry to make a difference in their lives, and people who love to work, because if you love to work, you're going to be a hard worker for your family in your family stuff. You're going to be a great family person, but you're also going to be able to be a great, you know, Mary Kay person at the same time. So I love that. So that's kind of how one of my prayers have changed as well. Unit size matters. I think the company is going to do a unit size. We're praying that they do something about unit size again, because when the company started to put a focus on getting to 50 unit members and getting to 75 and to 100 and beyond, the hardest struggle was going to get to 50. And then once you hit 50, 50 to 75 came so much easier. And then 75 to 100. And when you hit 100, then really things started to happen where you had other people, because you just had numbers of people that were, she wants to work, she has a crisis, you know, she's new coming in, she's bringing in new people. So, and the bigger this business is, it's always easier. The bigger your unit is, the less stress you have. You're not worrying about the dippy doos and your person won't call you back because you got all these other people, you know? So that always makes a difference in those things. So, so that's where I'm going to stop, because that was the beginning part. And then in another time, I'll finish off the other part of it. But those were some of the things of how I thought, and things that helped me to stay working, and lessons that I learned that I wish I had learned earlier in my Mary Kay career along the way. So with that, I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you for braving the weather. Thank you for everybody on our Google Hangout. I hope this worked okay. Nobody's texted me that it hasn't, so I hope that it worked okay. And I want to wish you a safe and prosperous finish to this month. Share the Love Month. I keep being reminded of National Sales Director Sue Kirkpatrick standing on the stage and telling us that the thing she regretted most about her Mary Kay career was that she didn't share enough. So I just want to challenge you that that would never be your regret, that you would have said, I shared often, and I shared with love, and I shared with openness and with joy, and I shared a lot every single week and every single month with other people. And it just keeps resonating with me, you know, in that whole process. And while I love being a national, what I miss is not being able to be in the field as much, you know, and sharing. And so I know I need to go back into the field just to do more of that right now for myself personally as well, because it just keeps resonating over and over and over and over again, you know, for me, and being able to be in my sweet spot, which is working one-on-one, you know, with people as well. So you guys have a great, great day. Thank you very much. And let's get that $500 bonus. It's really important. It's really important for future compensation, you guys. So goodbye. Love you.